Hello, welcome to the Fifth Star. I'm Jamie,
And I'm Albert.
and this is a podcast where we're trying to find our next 5-star rated movie. And when we find that movie, this podcast will be kidnapped and held for ransom.
So today we are reviewing a Spike Lee joint, Highest to Lowest, and it's a reimagining of Kurosawa's High and Low. It's about Denzel Washington playing a music mogul, and one day his son gets kidnapped and held for ransom. So we're going to get into it, but first we like to try to guess what we think each other gave it.
Yep.
I'm going to guess that you gave it a 3.0 out of 5 stars.
Okay.
What do you think I gave it?
Dude, I have no idea because I don't know your feelings about Spike Lee and like his editing choices.
I mean, he does have a very specific style.
He's got a really unique style,
Mhm.
and you either love it or hate it, I bet. Okay, I'm gonna say you gave it a 2.5.
Okay.
I don't know.
2.5.
Something tells me you didn't really like it,
So
but you may have really liked it.
we will get into that discussion. Spoiler free first, and then we will reveal our scores.
Okay.
So first starting question. Have
Yeah.
you seen High and Low by
No.
Kurosawa? Okay. I did see it. And then I had, seen it a couple years ago, and then I rewatched it last night after I seen this movie, just to kind of remember what the differences are. Yeah. And it's interesting because Spike Lee is pretty insistent on saying this is not a remake, this is a reimagining. And I guess that's because he makes some changes. But when I watched it, when I watched Highest to Lowest,
Yeah.
I was like, oh, yeah, it does feel pretty different.
Mm-hmm.
But then when I rewatched High and Low last night, I was like, no, actually, it's pretty similar.
Really?
Yeah.
Like the beats and everything?
A lot more was similar than I thought was different.
Okay.
So
I still need to watch it.
I think I really loved High and Low.
Yeah.
I had seen, Seven Samurai and Yojimbo and like a few of like Rashomon. So a few of like Kurosawa's biggest movies and liked them.
Yeah.
But, kind of heard about High and Low later and then watched it. And it actually became my favorite Kurosawa.
Okay, then your opinion of this movie, was it tainted a little bit by that movie?
I think it kind of was.
Okay.
Part of what, and I know this isn't really a review on High and Low, but I
Right.
think it's kind of hard to not compare the two.
I won't be doing that since I haven't seen it, but that's what's
Yeah.
going to make this conversation interesting. I
yeah,
think.
because I'm wondering if that'll affect how you read the movie too.
I think so.
What I remember, first of all, High and Low is from 1963. It's all done in black and white.
Yeah.
The one big difference is just with the character in terms of like the job. So instead of being a music mogul in High and Low, he's one of the executives of like a shoemaking company, a woman's shoemaking company.
Interesting.
But it has the same like corporate kind of power play dynamics, and people are trying to buy each other out, and so those things are kind of similar. Thematically, I think High and Low is much more about classism, and the High and Low referencing like upper class versus the lower class.
I got a ton of classism from this movie, though.
Yeah, but
that's
I
interesting.
think it's not
Even more on the nose?
Yes, it's very on the nose in the original. This one, I think it's there, but it's not the primary note, pun intended. So I think when we talk about more of the themes,
I do feel like it is the primary note.
Interesting.
So
okay.
that's interesting.
Yeah, so we will have to talk about the themes maybe in the spoiler section.
Yeah.
Because that's part of what I was struggling with. I was coming in thinking it would be similar thematically, but I felt like it wasn't really hitting that.
Yeah.
But in terms of like the setup, it's like his son, gets kidnapped. He has to pay this ransom, but that money is what he needs to save his business.
Yeah.
So that whole dynamic and the whole philosophical aspect of it is very similar. Of like, what would you do in this situation? The moral dilemma, and yeah, like what I remember about High and Low Kurosawa that I loved when I watched it was all those dialogue scenes in the apartment with the cops and when they're getting the phone call and all that is blocked so meticulously and beautifully, where like it just looks like these still frame paintings of like all these different people like in the
I need
set.
to watch it.
And it's like the cinematography of the movement with the composition and the blocking is just, it's like it truly is art. It's so masterfully done.
Hmm.
And in this, you know, in Spike Lee, like he doesn't take that approach.
Yeah.
He just shoots it more kind of conventionally, coverage, you know, cutting more frequently. And so I kind of missed it when I was watching Spike Lee's version. I was
Yeah.
like, all the kind of, I guess, the artistry of it
Huh.
in the cinematography perspective, I felt like was missing.
I will say though, this movie was so incredibly colorful. Like bright colors, which is kind of the exact opposite of high and low, right?
Yeah.
But like just the really saturated, even just like the opening shots of that just orange and blue contrast. It was so complimentary. And then the furniture and the clothing was like pretty bright. I really liked all the bright colors.
Yeah.
But some of his like grading choices were interesting.
But, you know, this still has a lot, you know, or enough of the kind of Spike Lee staples. So you have like his montage type cutting.
Yeah.
That can be really jarring.
It can be really jarring.
But it's kind of his unique style. You have like his classic, the character on the looking straight into camera on the dolly pulling back shot. That's a staple kind of calling card of his, and he does that in this movie a couple times. So it's still what you lose in kind of Kurosawa's meticulous cinematography and blocking and all that stuff, you kind of get back in Spike Lee's specific style, visual style, I think, flair.
Okay. Can I ask about the music?
Okay. Yeah. I had the same question.
The movie is about music, but the soundtrack was bizarre.
Yeah. It was like all like orchestral type music,
like
right?
soap opera music. Like this is what I hear from a soap opera. Dramatic, sort of orchestration, but not really.
Yeah. I was very curious how you would read the music because
bizarre.
To me, yeah, it felt very off tone.
Yes.
From what you would expect with what happens in the scene.
Yes.
Now, sometimes like you have in the setup part, like, okay, so another difference with Kurosawa, like he just jumps right into the drama and the tension of the power dynamics and all that stuff, right?
Okay.
And he does have some music in the beginning that is a little more classic orchestral style.
So do you think it was an homage to that?
It might have been. So when I rewatched
Okay.
it, I was like, maybe that's what he's going for.
Maybe.
But the music is not constant throughout. There's a lot of dialogue scenes where there's like, it's just quiet and it really feels like you're just like listening in on these conversations. Whereas in Spike Lee's version, like he's playing these things like pretty loudly over some of the dialogue. And then the parts where it's kind of before the drama kicks in, it's like almost like sappy, cheesy at points.
Yeah,
right?
Soap opera.
Yeah, and then when it gets like dramatic and tense, it's still
it's
the
like
kind of
jovial, like
like it's really interesting.
I don't know.
Did it work for you?
No.
Okay, that's what I was wondering.
I'll be honest, it took me out of it. Like every time that happened, I was like, I don't like this. But that is just my opinion.
Yeah.
I could be completely missing whatever Spike Lee was intending to do with that choice, because obviously it was a choice. But yeah, I just kept thinking, like, why is this a soap opera all of a sudden? I remember when it first happens, it's when he's in the office talking to his... I don't even know what their relationship is.
Oh, yeah, his like kind of business partner.
I don't know if they were business partners or what, but... that whole conversation, I couldn't pay attention to the dialogue because the music was so distracting, and the music kept, making me think that this was a really sad scene, even though they were like just having sort of a business conversation. And I was just like, what's going on? Like, and it really pulled me out. And then later when the kidnapping happens, or when he gets the phone call, the music gets so loud and so like soap opera that I was like, isn't this scene meant to be like tense?
Yeah.
I don't feel tense right now. I feel just confused.
Yeah.
And part of me wants to giggle.
So I have a theory
Okay.
on it, but I think it depends on how you read the themes of the movie.
Okay.
And so I think we need to table that for later,
Okay.
where we talk through the specific music, because it's not just the soundtrack.
Yeah.
You have whole scenes of people performing.
I liked those.
Okay.
I liked those choices more than the.
So there are some parts where I was like, this seems excessive.
Yeah.
And yet when I went back and thought about the movie and try to think through what Spike Lee was doing, because initially, I'll be honest, when I just was experiencing the movie, I kind of wasn't enjoying it that much. But as I kind of, after I finished it, I kept thinking about it. It made me keep thinking about, like, why did he do this? What was he trying to say here? And the more I thought through it, it kind of started to click for me, where I think I understand what he's trying to say with this character. And, you know, like, that's where kind of the music choices became like, oh, okay, that kind of makes sense. And it kind of worked better for me. I still don't like the soundtrack personally, but
I feel very similarly.
okay.
Where I was feeling the same way of like, I'm not enjoying this.
Mm-hmm.
But then once it was all over, I was like, okay, some pieces are clicking now.
Yeah.
And I kind of want to reevaluate.
It's almost
So,
like
I'm
thinking
curious to
about it is
hear-
more enjoyable than watching.
Maybe.
guess.
It's weird. Because I remember I finished it and I was like, no spoilers,
Yeah.
I have no idea how to rate this.
Mm.
Like, it was all over the charts for me.
Yeah.
So mixed in like every category
Mm-hmm.
that I was like, this is going to be tough to review.
Yeah. So in spoilers, I think we need to really unpack the scenes
Yeah.
and the choices, and
Yeah.
then the kind of themes and how it connects to the themes. So stick around for that if you've watched it. But before that, I will say, like, the acting. What did you think of Denzel's performance? Like Jeffrey Wright, kind of the acting overall.
I did feel like Jeffrey Wright was a little over the top, but maybe that's because I'm so not used to him playing this type of character.
Okay.
It could be. I felt like he was over the top. I thought Denzel did a great job.
Mm-hmm.
I thought his wife felt a little bit flat to me.
Mm-hmm.
She wasn't very compelling, I guess.
Yeah.
I had a really hard time understanding the son.
The son. Yeah.
His voice was just so low and
Yep.
kind of mumbly
Yep.
that I was like, I can't tell what he's saying. I was not expecting mayhem.
Yeah. Okay. So with the cops, his name is Dean Winters, the guy who plays Mayhem in
Nah, it's mayhem.
in the State Farm, Allstate commercials. First of all, that's one difference between this and the original. In this movie, the cops are like fools, and they're just annoying.
Yeah.
They're like harassing, the victims and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And Mayhem in particular, he was so annoying and
obnoxious.
And I know that's the character he was playing, but it really was distracting for me.
Yeah.
And I didn't
That's
think he
fair.
gave a good performance. In the original, like, the cops are really smart. They're very helpful. And the whole middle section of the movie, they're the ones driving. Like, the kind of
Interesting.
second half to the back end of the movie.
Oh, okay.
It's all like, it gets into the really nitty gritty of like their investigation and everything. And the lead protagonist, like, he's just kind of in the background. Like, he's not, you don't even see him much after the kind of initial setup.
Yeah.
It was such a stark difference between like the interpretation of the original and the now. And part of that's like, maybe Spike Lee's just trying to say something about like law enforcement
But I felt like there was a weird pivot because at the beginning I felt like the police were very helpful.
or they're
like,
trying to be at least. And they seem somewhat competent.
And they had like a whole plan and they were working together
Yeah.
and they were like, we're gonna do this together. And do the very best we can. But then after the midpoint, it felt like, oh, suddenly they're almost antagonists. And I was like, what's going on?
Yeah.
It was so weird.
And then so it was like, is he trying to say something about law enforcement, right? Is he trying to make a statement? But it was just, but yeah, Mayhem was terrible, I thought. Sorry, Dean Winters, but I just thought he kind of was like ruining that part of the movie.
Dang.
But on the other hand, I think Denzel was phenomenal. Like,
yeah, he did great.
I think he was so good. He really was like carrying so much of the emotional drama. The part of the movie that works the best for me, also similar to the original, is the whole dilemma of like, what is he gonna do? Is he gonna pay the ransom or not? And I think Denzel really like delivered on being able to bring those stakes and the emotional turmoil and all of those things that he's going through. I agree, like his son, that guy who was playing his son, didn't match Denzel quite as well, but in their scene, like Denzel is like bringing it.
It was scary.
Yeah,
I was like,
it was so
I'm scared.
intense. Yeah, it's like Training Day Denzel almost, you know. But I think even Jeffrey Wright, like to me, I didn't think he was overplaying it. Like I thought,
I think I'm just not used to seeing him play
that kind of character.
that kind of character.
But like the scene between him and Denzel, I thought was so good too. Like it was just these two great actors like
Which
going
one?
at it. They're in his study and then they're
Oh,
talking.
okay, that one.
Like that scene was so good. So I thought overall, largely, like the acting was really good. Like Aesop Rocky, what do you think of his performance?
I thought he was playing himself.
But he did a great job, I thought.
Yeah.
I thought he was very convincing.
Yeah.
Overall, I would say for me, this movie felt uneven because you have like this original story,
Yeah.
and it felt like it was Spike Lee injecting his agenda into that story.
Yeah.
And one of the clear examples is like all the reference to sports, right? So, you know, Spike Lee is a hardcore diehard Knicks fan, you know, and he's a New York fan in general. So he's like a Mets, Yankees fan and whatever. So there's all these scenes with like Yankees fans and them chanting like Boston sucks and all this kind of stuff. As a Yankee fan, I love it.
Yeah, I was going to say, didn't you love that part?
I love it. But it is really like, as you're watching, you're like, what does this have to do with the movie? You know, it's like all these like side things.
Yeah, the Puerto Rican thing, I wanted to know why that happened.
Yeah, so I think that's connected to the theme.
Okay.
But the whole like chanting, and it just goes on, and you're like, okay, like cool, I get it, you know, but it just felt like he's just injecting his personal thing into a story that didn't really need it. What would you think? Did it not bother you? Because they're showing like all these ads of like Aaron Judge and like every cutaway he could find of like things.
Yeah. But he kind of does that throughout. Like even at the end, there's like a close-up shot of the Steinway piano logo. And I don't know. He's pretty consistent about doing those little cutaways.
Didn't bother you?
So I guess it didn't really bother me that much. But I interpreted that whole scene with them yelling to be like a chaotic situation to make the situation feel more tense and stressful.
Okay, so
that
it
worked.
actually worked. Okay.
I felt like so stressed when they were yelling and chanting, and I was like, something is going to go wrong.
Yeah.
The whole time I was like, something's going to go wrong. So I think it worked.
Interesting. Okay.
But you're probably still right about it being very...
I love a good bashing on the Red Sox and any Boston team. Love it. Put it on celluloid, you know, put it on the big screen.
Did you see the poster behind him that said like, no hate, even if you're a Red Sox fan or something like that?
Oh no, I missed that one.
It said something about like we don't hate even if you're a Red Sox fan.
If you're a Boston fan and you are a viewer of our podcast or listener, I love you. You know, no hate. But everyone else, all the other Boston fans who don't listen to our podcast, no love for them.
Wow.
We are neck and neck with the Red Sox right now for a playoff spot in the wild card race. But yeah, so to me, I think that's where I think the movie feels a little uneven. It just felt like that's an example of where is it just him kind of adding his agenda? But on the other hand, I think that's kind of what makes it interesting. If he did a shot-for-shot remake, like I watched How to Train Your Dragon live, and it was like, why did they do this? You know? Like you're just making like the original's so great. Like why mess with it? So if you're gonna mess with Kurosawa's work, his masterpiece, like okay, at least bring your own kind of personality, your own
which he definitely
style,
did, right?
Which he did. Yeah. And he made very bold choices.
Yeah.
And so whether it worked or it didn't work, I kind of appreciated that.
Yeah.
You know, I was like thankful that he was still doing his thing.
Yeah.
And I do think it ties into the theme that I took away at the end of the day.
I will say the only other thing that kind of bothered me was some of the dialogue.
Okay.
Some of the dialogue felt very on the nose and at times a bit cheesy, especially in the first act. And even Denzel's performance didn't quite save it for me. I think the dialogue was really good in the final act.
Oh, somewhat, yeah.
I thought a lot of that sort of monologue was really well done.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be honest, like I started the movie not having high expectations. I was at my lowest.
Yeah, you started the lowest.
I started the
to
lowest
the highest.
to the high. Well,
I
we'll see.
I might have gone the other way. Started at
We'll
the
see.
penthouse, and yeah. Okay, you want to reveal then? So you thought I'll give it a 2.5 out of 5, and I gave it a 3 out of 5. Yeah.
I also gave it a 3 out of 5.
Okay, so I got it right.
You
yes.
did.
I feel like I haven't been right in a while.
I was gonna do this, but then I was like, no, because then he'll never get it right. I was gonna
you can't do a 2.5. No.
2.5.
So actually, that is where I'm at
That's
too.
where you're at.
I was between a 3 and a 3.5. I was like, do I like? It's like the more
It's so hard.
Yeah, there are parts that really work well. I'm like, oh yeah, this is a solid 3.5. And then other parts, I'm like, what? Why are we doing this? And then I'm like, is this a 2.5? And I'll kind of go down to a 3. And then the more I thought about it and marinated on it, I was like, I kind of feel like it's a 3.5.
Yeah.
So the question is, would you recommend this to our viewers or our listeners?
I don't know. I think you have to be a little bit of a Spike Lee fan.
I agree with that.
To enjoy it.
Yes.
If you're a Spike Lee fan, like you probably will really like it. I think.
Because if you have not seen any Spike Lee movies and then you watch this, I feel like those choices will feel even more jarring.
It's so jarring, yeah.
But if you've seen it and you kind of know like what his style is, then I think you kind of appreciate it as like, oh yeah, this is his flair.
Yeah.
Also, I think if you've seen High and Low, the Kurosawa version, this is like kind of fun. It's like a fun exercise
to kind of compare them.
Yeah, so it's worth watching it for that, I think.
Yeah, because I watched this, I will probably watch High and Low. So I don't know.
Okay.
But I think it's interesting because this movie for me, like I was saying, it started out as like maybe a 2, maybe a 2.5.
Oh, interesting.
And then it kind of like stayed that way up until the midpoint. And spoilers-ish, it's like the train sequence. Then it started to go up to like a 3. And I was like, this is good.
Okay.
And then it started to dip back down a little bit. And then it went back up. And then by the end, I was like, it ended better than I thought it would. But I still don't know what to give it.
So the whole ending and like the dialogue that you referenced, that is a callback to the original. Because the original ends with a dialogue, like a conversation. And
between the kidnapper?
It's such a powerful like ending, I think. Yeah. So I'll just say that, and because I don't want to ruin your viewing of High and Low.
Okay.
But it is. I think it's connected to the way the original ends, and so that's why it ends so well. Yeah. So I think we give a mixed recommendation, I guess, based on what kind of thing you're into. If you haven't seen it, watch it, I guess, and then come back and join us for our spoiler section.
Yes.
And then I think the fun of this movie is really unpacking the details and the themes. Yeah. So yeah, we'll get into that and spoilers now, full on spoilers.
I'm so curious.
Okay, what is your take for the movie overall? Like, what is the theme that you're kind of walking away with?
So after kind of discussing it with my husband a bit more, unpacking it a little bit, we kind of decided that the movie is ultimately about classism, but also specifically classism like sort of in the music industry, and how is music about money or is music about like heart and storytelling, kind of, which sort of reminded me of Sinners just a little bit, because it's like, will you sell your soul for success, or is the music just about telling a story? And I think that was something that was cool to see the main character sort of walking through the whole time. And then the entire scene at the end is so interesting because A$AP Rocky is like, I'm successful, like I'm handing you money right now by asking to be on your label, like I am giving you so much. And the main character choosing to be like, no, is such a powerful move, because it's him saying, I'm not going to do this for the money anymore. Yeah. Like, I'm going to take the moral ground instead. And so we were kind of talking about like, okay, does that mean Spike Lee is sort of making a commentary about like how the music industry is now, and how like, should pop stars or R&B stars or
Yeah.
rappers, like, should they be compromising their morality for money? And shouldn't music be about actual good storytelling and heart?
Yeah.
And I am on that side.
Yeah.
I agree that music should be more about the story and
Mhm.
not just about making as much money as possible
Mhm.
or trying to be famous. But, you know, attention is currency.
Yeah.
So I agreed with that theme.
Yeah. So I got the exact same stuff.
Yeah.
Like now I think the music and this being a commentary on the state of music
Yeah.
is the predominant theme, and I think the class part of it is really secondary, especially compared to the original. Like the original, like, class is really at the heart of it,
Yeah.
and it ties it really more strongly.
Okay.
In this one, part of what bothered me was that A$AP Rocky, like, yeah, like, he's a guy who's, poor and, like, kind of like trying to make it. But it's really about, like, this guy who's trying to make it as an artist and has this kind of unhealthy obsession with David King
Yeah.
and decides to, like, take his own future into his own hands, right?
Right.
And pave his own path. Like, because all attention is currency, even bad attention, right? So even though he gets caught, like, he doesn't seem to mind it as much because now
Right.
he's, like, exploding on Spotify and all this stuff, right? The whole class part of it is really underbaked in this movie. But
maybe it does seem to play a big part though, because he is, like, you know, from the Bronx and, like, not getting any attention, and he's resentful of David King the whole time because King is, like, the king of New York,
Yeah.
or whatever,
but I
and
think
is ignoring him.
Yeah, but I think that has more to do with the music because there's a lot of comments, like, for example, when he's like, my buddies or whatever, like, they're playing my music, so I, like, you don't have your ear in the streets. Like, you used to be from the hood and all this stuff, but, like, you're not there anymore. Like, you're living in your glass tower, so, like, you don't have your ear on the streets, so you don't know what music is anymore, right? But what David King says is, like, yeah, but are they paying you? Like, are your friends paying you money? So what David King started with this passion for music, and then the whole thing with his wife being like, yeah, like, used to work all these long hours, but you would always
Now you
come
just do it
home
for the money.
Yeah, you would always come home smiling and excited about some new artist you found, right? So he had this, like, connection to the raw talent and these up and coming artists and stuff. And now he's, like, totally disconnected from them. He's too high up, right? And it's all about, trying to save his company and about power plays and corporate, like, whatever decisions. And so it's like he's lost focus of the music because of the money. And so then all the stuff in the beginning, that setup, does tie into that theme. When he's having that confrontation with A$AP Rocky in the lab, he's like, yeah, like, you're just an empty shell.
Yeah.
Like, what I want to know is, like, what's inside of you.
Yeah.
And so he's saying, you have potential, but, like, I need to know who you are as a person, like, your inner, like, passion, and
he's like, he's
that's
a
what
shield.
that's what needs to come out in the music.
Yeah.
But A$AP Rocky, like, Young Thug, all he's doing is, like, kind of making the music that he thinks people will like.
Yeah.
Right?
He's putting on such a hard exterior, a hard front.
Yeah.
And he's not allowing anyone in, even, like, the girl that clearly really likes him, really loves him. And then he's calling her, horrible
disrespecting
things.
her. Yeah.
And it's like, why are you doing that? Like, you don't need to do that. You don't have to be this, like, tough guy.
Yeah.
This tough exterior or whatever.
But then, like, you have, like, Denzel, like, the way he finds out that A$AP Rocky's the kidnapper is he's listening to his track on the Brooklyn Bridge, like, kind of going back to his roots.
Yeah.
And I think before he even recognizes the voice being the kidnapper's voice, I think what he hears is, because he says, I can recognize the desperation, right?
Yeah.
That's what I hear in his music.
Yeah.
And so I think that's what he's referring to when he's saying, oh, you have potential.
Right.
Like,
because he's so broken.
Yeah.
And you clearly see that when he's, like, chasing him, and then he's like, just let me die. You can tell that he needs a lot of help.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so he wants to draw that out. And this is juxtaposed against that conversation he has with his business partner, where it's like, our like no one's really buying our records anymore, and it's all about AI music anyway. And so this whole like AI soulless music, Denzel scoffs at that. He's like, machines making music, like that'll never really like work, but it's happening, right? Like people are listening to that stuff and being like, oh yeah, like this, I kind of can jam to this and whatever.
Yeah, but it's hollow.
Yeah, but it's hollow. And Denzel is like, no, it's about the essence of the person coming through. And that's what people should be connecting to. Because when I watched the whole subway scene, and then they're constantly cutting back and forth to like the Puerto Rican parade, and that's like very heavily featuring Eddie Palmieri, who I'm not familiar with his music, but he's like a Puerto Rican well-known established musician. And I'm like, why is he keep cutting to them, and why is the music so dominant here? It seems like it's like, yeah, there's tension, but to me it was like too heavy-handed.
Okay.
And then later I'm thinking back and I'm like, you have this character where it's all about this guy has the best ears in the business. And you have his son who like recommends he listens to this new artist, and they reference that he had already like not had time to listen to this other artist, had missed the boat. And I think it's about this character who, because of the money, he's not able to hear the real music anymore that's around him. And so he doesn't listen to the track that his son recommends. You have him coming to the lobby, and you have this singer who supposedly comes every day and plays like an original track for him, and he just like walks on by her, right? And then you have like this scene.
He stopped and listened to her whole thing.
I mean, for like a second. But then her music continues on as it like cuts to him like walking around. So, I think the implication is that he doesn't sign her. He doesn't recognize her for her talent. And then you have this scene where all this drama is happening with the money on the subway, and music is playing around him, like this really bright, like soulful music.
Yeah.
And he doesn't hear any of it, right? And so I think that's the kind of thing that's happening that Spike Lee's trying to communicate. And it's not until really, I guess, he gets broken down to the lowest point that he hears A$AP Rocky's track, and he starts to hear the music for what it is again. And then he has a confrontation with him, and then it starts to turn him back to remind him of like what it was all about.
Yeah.
What did you think of the scene where he's talking with him in the recording booth, and then they're kind of rapping really back and forth? Yeah, right?
It was very tense because the whole time you're like, anyone could pull a gun at any point.
Yeah.
And then at the same time, they were sort of like, doing like a rap battle.
Yeah.
Sort of. And I immediately thought this would be a great like acting exercise scene for people. Yeah, I just thought it was really well done.
Yeah.
It was cool too, because I don't think I've seen that in a movie before.
Done that way.
Yeah.
Using like rapping.
Like they kept rhyming. Even in their
yeah.
dialogue, they were kind of rhyming. And I was like, dude, this is actually really cool.
Yeah. And it was like done to pull it off well is gonna be hard. And so like Denzel being able to like actually rhyme well. And I read somewhere in a review, they were making a comment. They're like, all those years of Shakespeare probably helped Denzel.
Because he was Macbeth, right? Yeah.
But he had like the presence to hang with like, A$AP Rocky and like a back and forth.
Yeah. And you can see like, okay, he really came from that same spot,
Yeah. And so then in their dialogue where he's the one kind of saying you need to tap into something deeper is like him starting to see the light.
Yeah.
And then you have like before the final confrontation in the jail cell, you have like this really jarring cutaway to like A$AP Rocky performing a like music video, girls twerking and stuff around him. And you're just like, oh my gosh, what is happening? And to me, I think what Denzel is communicating, or what Spike Lee's communicating, is like as he's looking at A$AP Rocky, he's seeing like if I go down this pathway with this guy, like this is the kind of music I'm going to be making.
Dark path.
Yeah, it's just like money, cash grab kind of music that's just giving people what they want. It's soulless, right? Yeah. So then when A$AP Rocky like offers him what would be the biggest record contract of all time and make all this money with his new company, the record label, he's able to turn it down at that moment, and it makes sense why.
Yeah.
Because now he can hear the music, right? And so then this whole like long coda of like performance of Sula and actually being able to hear her and respond to the music.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, that's interesting from coming from Spike Lee because he's a filmmaker.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's more than just a commentary on music, it's a commentary on art. And I think that Spike Lee is kind of saying like, you know, even as a filmmaker, like it's not about just making money, right? Because there's a great line, all money ain't good money, right? You know, Spike Lee, he's a guy who's had successful movies, but largely he makes his own type of original movies that don't make a ton of money. But he's done Inside Man, which made almost 200 million, like 186 million globally. That's like you know that he can just do blockbusters and just do cash grab movies and do a good job with it. But he doesn't, right? So like he does like smaller movies like this with A24 and so I think I walk away being really respectful of like Spike Lee as a filmmaker, as an artist, and him kind of like backing up like this theme that he's trying to communicate about art, and like he's trying to stay true, I think. So he makes these bold choices even though it might not land well for everybody. I don't know, like I just saw all these connections that I thought was like really interesting.
I thought something I really appreciated about specifically that scene in the lab was how Denzel Washington's character was still empathetic, even though this guy like has caused him so much pain mentally, more so than anything else. And he was still able to come into that scene wanting to understand him and wanting to like help him. And I thought that was so cool. Like he wasn't just there to get revenge or immediately be like, where's my money? Give me my money back. He instead like took the time to really hear him out and like try to figure him out and try to help him. I just thought that was so refreshing.
Yeah.
That like Spike Lee would take this character and really make him take the time to understand the bad guy.
Yeah.
In a way.
I mean, I think it does kind of then tie into the theme because it's not about just him hearing the music. The music, if it's coming from a place of genuineness, it's about through the music seeing the person.
Yeah, but I think it ties into the classism too, because I think he understands, I know where you come from because I came from here too.
Yeah.
And I know that life here is hard and you need to catch a break. Like, I caught a break, like, let me help you catch a break.
Yeah.
And I think it's only because he came from the same spot that he's able to empathize so much with this guy.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true.
That's how I interpreted that scene anyway. I was like, wow, he's really trying to put himself in this guy's shoes, even though he doesn't deserve it.
Yeah.
Like,
and in the end, like even in their final confrontation, like I think there's a lot of pity that he has for you know, he's not like, oh yeah, you're getting yours, you know, and hope you rot in jail.
It's like brokenheartedness, for sure.
It's like, man, this guy, like he, you know, I want to give him a chance, but like he just doesn't want to take it.
Even after everything he did to Kyle and like all the runaround he did with the money, it's just like, it's crazy. It's
because, you know, Young Thug sees this as like, oh, this is only going to help my popularity.
Yeah.
So he doesn't care about anything else other than getting famous and making a lot of money.
Yeah. Which I think Spike Lee's really trying to fight against that.
So this whole thing of like, money getting in the way of like us being able to hear the music, see each other as people.
Yeah.
You know, I empathize with where people come from. Like all these kinds of things. Like these themes are like really prominent. I think it's interesting.
Yeah. I recently read a book and there's this quote from it that I keep thinking about. It like keeps showing up in everything that I like read or watch now. Doing the right thing versus doing the thing to survive is a choice. And then also doing the thing to win versus doing the right thing is also a choice. And
that's good.
Yeah, and I keep thinking about that in this movie in particular because both of those kind of play into it, where it's like, at first, A$AP Rocky was trying to survive instead of doing the right thing.
Mm.
And then at the end, he was doing the thing to win instead of doing the right thing.
Yeah.
Whereas our main character kind of chose to do the right thing both times.
Yeah.
Which in the beginning, I was like, is he going to do the right thing?
Yeah.
I don't know. He
Yeah.
might choose the survival option.
I know.
Like,
And he, like, and the original is the same way. Like, they really draw that tension out.
yeah.
And in that, it makes it feel really like the stakes are really high because
Yeah.
you really understand how important this business is. I mean, imagine giving up literally everything you have to save someone else's kid.
Yeah.
Like, that's really intense.
That's a sacrifice.
Yeah.
Although I did look up the cost of his penthouse and it was like $15 million.
Oh, so like he could have still been fine.
His apartment has to be like insanely
Yeah.
expensive.
Yeah, and so, that's the part of classism where it's like, well, maybe it's going to be painful for him because he's used to such a high standard of living.
Yeah. It's still a sacrifice.
Yeah, but
it's
he'll
also,
still be
like,
fine.
He'll be fine. He's not going to be on the streets.
Yeah.
Like,
The conversation in the end where they do the split screen,
mhm.
like I thought that was so well done. Yeah.
Where it started to like close in a little
Yeah,
bit.
but it's an actual split screen.
Yeah.
Because in the original they have a similar conversation, but it just cuts back and forth.
Yeah.
But in the original, it's so cool because in the glass you see the reflection when you're shooting through one glass. You see the reflection of the other person like superimposed on them, and then the same on the other way.
Didn't they do that in Paris, Texas too?
Oh
Can't
yeah,
remember.
I think they
Okay.
did. Yeah, but Kurosawa did it first. But that
I
was
can't
really
remember
well
when
done.
Paris, Texas.
But I think Spike Lee's way of doing the kind of split screen, like wide and then slowly pushing in, like throughout the conversation, like that was really cool. That was well done, I thought.
Yeah,
Um,
that was interesting. I don't know why I kept thinking of the Batman.
Oh yeah, because they're doing an interrogation.
Yeah.
I mean, it is really hard to do extended dialogue through a glass in a
Yeah.
prison, like well.
Yeah.
And so if you do it well, it
It's
works
memorable.
well.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, one part of the movie that I hated, that just kind of almost ruined it, was when they're on the subway and they're doing the whole like with the bag, and then they're like, oh, you have to go to the in between the train. So he goes in between the train, and then some guy who's working with them like pulls the emergency brake. That then makes him drop the thing.
I agree. He should not have dropped it.
And then, like, the guy who's waiting to catch it while he's dancing that is, like, right underneath perfectly. Like, how did they know how, like, long it'll take for the train to stop? Because, no one goes around pulling emergency brakes on trains just to practice, like, how long it's going to take. Like, and on top of all of that, like, you don't know that Denzel's going to drop the thing.
Yeah, I didn't understand why he dropped it. Because
Yeah,
it was still on his back.
It's like, oh, it's so jerky, and I'm going to drop it in between the thing. He could have dropped it right on the floor.
I think
on
his
one of the
hand
subways.
still would have grabbed it. And
Yeah.
he would have been able to hold it.
Or it
I
could have
agree.
like hit the trail, the track, or there's so many
I
things
agree.
that have to go right for him to drop it perfectly.
Yeah.
So that was so annoying.
Yeah.
And then I rewatched.
It was creative, though. It was like a creative plan for the bad guys.
Okay, when you watch the original, can I just
Okay,
explain?
Nope,
No?
you can't because I have to watch it.
Oh my gosh, the original is so much more well thought out.
Okay.
And that whole thing, it's so much better because
Okay.
like.
Well, don't tell me.
Oh gosh.
I want to watch
Okay,
it.
you guys have to watch it. It makes me hate this version
The guy
even more.
who hates spoilers is about
Okay,
to tell me everything.
I'm sorry. But this
so
one,
that was terrible.
it's so much worse when you know how well Kurosawa did it.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fair.
But-
That whole scene was very tense. I was like,
Yeah.
what's gonna happen?
But other than that, I did think the more I marinated on the movie, even though it feels disjointed watching it, kind of being able to tie a lot of these themes together with these random scenes kind of made me appreciate the movie more, I think.
Yeah.
And I think that's why it was like, maybe this is a 3.25.
That's why it's so hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I was like, I want to give it a higher score because of the ending, but also the rest of the movie, I didn't personally, this is completely subjective, but I didn't personally enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like I can't give it a high score.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is a hard
Well,
one.
watch High and Low. You guys watch High and Low. Let us know what you think of this movie with or without, comparing it to High and Low.
You can follow us on YouTube, Spotify, Letterboxd, or Apple Podcasts.
And join us next time as we continue our quest for the 5th star.